So let me walk you through factorial ANOVA. So the cool thing about factorial ANOVAs is that they allow us to do these interaction effects. So you've watched the thing about the bears, right? So you know that depending on the type of bear and what behavior you take, it determines if you're going to live or die. Well, this is a cool thing. Not that you might die, but that you can do these interaction effects, okay? So I'm going to walk you through an example. It's kind of a silly example, but it clarifies things quite a bit. Okay, so if you've ever heard of the concept of beer goggles, if you haven't, it's this idea that the more you drink, the more you find people attractive, okay? Despite what they actually might look like. So imagine we did an experiment. We take 24 males and 24 females, and we take them to a pub or bar or whatever you want to call it. And over the course of an hour, one group gets 0 drinks, some of the men, some of the women. Some get 2 drinks, or 2 pints, and some get 4. Okay, and then we're obviously not going to do this, we're going to watch them and see and rate the attractiveness of the people they hit on. Okay, so if we look at this, if we just compare the average of males and females, okay, cool. Look, okay, males on average, they hit on women and their attractiveness is about 56.45, so a little bit above halfway. And women at 60.221 approximately. Okay, and then if we look at by the amount they drink, okay, so people who drink none, they're at 63.7. Okay, if they have 2 pints, they're at 64.7. So there's a little, maybe they're feeling a little bit more confident, but oh no, look what happens when we look at the 4 pints, we've got 46.6. Okay, so it's a big drop. Okay, so that's what would happen if we just looked at what we call the main effect. So the main effect, if we look at the independent variables of gender and how much alcohol they've consumed, okay? But actually, what's more interesting is if we look at what happens when we look at the different comparisons. So if we look at men, they're who drink none, they're about 66, and with 2, 66. No difference. But when they've had 4, oh, it's 35.6. That's not good. Whereas if we look at women, we get 60.6. All right, then at 2 points, 62.5. So they've gone up a little bit. And then at 4 points, 57.5. So they've dropped, but not nearly to the extent that men have done, okay? And this is what's showing us what we call an interaction. So if you look at the results, if you look at an ANOVA output, okay, so we have main effects, which is just like this gender and alcohol, okay? We only see a significant main effect for alcohol. We don't have a significant main effect for gender, but we do have this multiplication, so gender times alcohol, okay? This is an interaction, okay? And it is significant. So that's basically telling us when we combine the effects of gender and alcohol, we see an interesting pattern. So one of the best ways to look at this and just figure out if you have an interaction is to plot the means for the different groups. Now, anytime you get what's an X, right, the lines crossed, you have what's called an interaction effect. Okay, this is one of the really great advantages of a factorial ANOVA. Okay, we can also do this in a linear regression, which is one of the advantages of a linear regression, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next section. Okay, talk to you later.